And we're live. Welcome. You've got your Omega 7 live here, Omega and Tribe today coming at you. And this is Oracle Divination Network out of Blog Talk. And YouTube channel is Omi's Production Studio. Please subscribe to me down below. And just don't be a friend, become a follower. And this is a special segment. White male supremacist is a sports. So let the games begin. Now, we're going to pause for a minute here. Games always accompany some type of rules, and we're going to get our rules together here. And we're going to bring our shovel, and we're going to shovel it in, because that's what's been shoveled on us. We're in games, and we don't know we're in games, and we have no idea that that's what this is all about. Hold tight for 1 minute here. We got to get our games going on here. I don't know if you can see that or not. We're going to put the camera down so you can see what we got going on here. We got balls. We got balls. Okay, I think you got me here. I think you can see me now. Why this seems to be crooked. But nevertheless, we're going to show you our balls that we got today. Because this is a game, ladies and gentlemen. And I don't know. And because this is white male supremacist is a game. White male supremacist is a sports, and we want to talk about that today. Why do I consider it a sports? And under what pretense and what type of games are we playing? These are the games that people play. And because white male supremacist is a sports, we have to make sure we get the rules right. And one of the reasons why we've been out on a limb is because we don't know the rules of the game. Let me just kind of explain to you what my little paraphernalia is here. See, I was a referee for the United States Army overseas, and I was on contract with them to be a referee and to set the tempo, let the games begin. And now normally that would have been my whistle. But as you see here, I'm carrying a little juju bag. Take a look at that. That's very important for you to see, because that little juju bag is a bag that has gifts in it and protection. The referee needs some protection out on the field, because sometimes they want to step to the referee. They want to get all up in the referee's face. They want to challenge the referee. And here I'm carrying my little patch, my little pouch that has all sorts of stickers there so that I can pass out these stickers whenever I see somebody or catch somebody on task. Now, why do I proclaim that white male supremacist is a sport? Why am I even saying that? Can this be true? Why, yes, it's true. White male supremacist is a sports, and it's been a sports. And we were told by Francis Scott Wellesley that until we understand white male supremacists, everything else will only confuse us. So let's get to the point of this. This is a game we're playing, people, and they're using all kinds of balls, soccer balls, kickballs, footballs. It's a game. And I aim to prove that, and this is my hypothesis, is white male supremacist is a game. So let the games begin, you say, right? Let the games begin, because we have to lay down the ground rules, because for so many reasons, black folks just didn't know the rules, and we were in the game, and sometimes scuffling, and sometimes playing the game right, sometimes being a part of the game, and sometimes being outside of the game, and sometimes while in the game, the rules change. Now, we're going to set the rules plain and clear. We're going to talk about a few things that we should have been talking about a long time ago. See, these non-Mennonite people told us they didn't want integration, segregation. They told us they wanted to be left alone and they wanted to be off to themselves. But some civil rights activists came along and said, let's integrate. This will make it better. Then we'll have the same equal amounts that our predecessors had. How could that be? When all along they kept saying they wanted to be segregated and left alone. They didn't even want to play your sports with you. They told you to go over there on the Negro side of town and play your own sports. Oh boy, but we didn't feel equal until we could actually get in a game with them. So we pressed and we pushed for this, and we called it equal rights, when in fact, nothing wasn't equal about it. They let us know they did not want integration. Now, is that a crime not to want integration? No, it's not. As a matter of fact, as long as we had equal amount, it would have been fine with me if we had had our station on the other side of town and the other side of the track. Because when someone doesn't want you there, guess what? They create all kinds of animosities and create games, something called game. Now, who's got game today? Who's got game today? I want to know, who's got game today? Is there anybody out there claiming to have game today? then you can get in the game. But a lot of us have not been able to match up and get in the game because of lower socioeconomic incomes and not having the salaries to play in the game. And then, let alone not even know the rules of the game. They kept the rules from us. They kept the rules from us. And even in some sports, like kickball, keeping the rules from you. Even like in football, keeping the rules from you. And you're playing in the game, and in spite of not knowing the rules, you're still on top and still winning. Now let the games begin, please. Let the games begin. Let the festivities begin, because we got to get in the game to play. You cannot win if you don't get in the game. And I want to tell you folks, this little juju bag is probably the most important thing that I could be wearing out on the court. Because you know referees get injured, they get hurt, they get threatened, and sometimes people show up at your house and want to do you one better and want to swing their best shot. So take your best shot. I am your referee today, and I'm telling you that my philosophy is white male supremacist is a game. And Frances Scott Wellesley was correct when she said that until you understand white supremacists, everything else will only confuse you. We are so confused out here about how the game is played. But if you are part of the sports, and if you ever ran track like I did, 50-yard dash, you know about games, and you know how you're measured in the game. Sometimes we're not measured properly in the game. Sometimes they become discriminative right on the field when we're jumping the hurdles and running 50-yard dash and jumping and passing the ball and doing all kinds of alley-oops and passing things over. Well, I came from a sports family, and our family was always off into sports, and we always asked, what are the rules of this game? And with 3 young men playing on a basketball team, you better believe we wanted to know, where's the rule book? We want to be in this game. So we became cheerleaders and support system at the Cougar inside of West Side High. We supported a young man by the name of Jimmy Harvey, who became pro and who became outstanding and who played on the varsity team when he was still in middle school. He made history. So you know we had to know the rules, because we wanted to make sure that this little middle schooler was going to be done justice. Now, are you in the game? Are you saying, well, what's the rules? What's the rule? White male supremacists will never tell you what the rules are. They will only negate the rules and detour you and send you up a tree and down in a rabbit hole, and you still won't know what hit you. But because that melanin you got flowing in your vein, you have the ability to throw off the stuff. Throw off the dirt that he's trying to bury you in. I brought my little shovel, because you need a shovel when you're dealing with white male supremacy, because there's so much stuff you got to shovel off, and you got to shovel that stuff off, because they keep filling you up with that stuff, and you are almost in the ground buried. But if you want to get in the game, get ready, because we're going to tell you about how the game is played, and there's many games that are played out here. We got round ball, we got soccer ball, we got football, we got baseball, we got tennis match. We got many games going out here, and believe you me, they only let the black men and women rule over certain games, and that is the basketball game. We got that under control. And since we got that under control, and they won't have entertainment unless our boys play, then our boys need to make the rules. Come on now, NLF team. Come on and make the rules. You know what you can do. You already been one knee. And they all gave in to you. And they all supported you. So you got them by the balls. Now it's time to play the game, NFL. It's time to come out and lay down your statutes and your rules, because white male supremacists can be ended right on the basketball court, right on the football field, when the brothers refuse to play. Time out. Time out. We got to bend one knee, because this thing ain't going right for the other brothers back home. Y'all ain't treating them right. I see you beating them in the streets. Before I came here, the ambulance was coming to get one of our brothers. We can't play this game. Time out. Interference. That means you need to go and check on the brothers back home until Bill gets to the hospital and gets treated, and the perpetrator who smashed him upside the head and shot him is tried. There'll be no more NFL games. White male supremacy is a game and a sports. So let the games begin. With NFL players stepping out, speaking out, not just one, stand behind Kaplan, because he needs you. He needs you to stand behind him. And many more of you need to speak out and take a platform, because this is where the games all start, and this is where they'll end. Because with your voice stepping out on the football team, saying, hey, we've been ramming our heads against each other for a long time, creating brain damage, and you're not telling us that we are killing ourselves. All for your entertainment. All for your fun and games. Well, we're going to have a say-so in how our communities are ran, and we're going to stand up, and we are going to make our mark to society. And if that flag needs to come down because of inappropriate words against our ancestors and slaves who went down in the trenches and died, and you are singing about their demise, I want the song taken off the air immediately, ASAP. And you have this kind of authority because you rule the game. You rule the game. Now you soccer players out there who are just coming into your own, you rule the game too. Step up and be a spokesman. Most of our ancestors who were in the sports field, like Muhammad Ali, Cassius Clay, he took a platform. He took a platform and he took a philosophy and he stood on it. Time out. Interference. You are sending out boys overseas and putting them on the front line, and you know they're being shot down. And they're fighting against somebody they have no vendetta against. And they're killing their own people. Time out. You can't send no more black boys overseas to fight a war that's not there. You can speak out. This is interference. It's clouding the game. And you can speak out before you go enrolling in the military and tying your shoelaces and signing with your right hand and swearing yourself in to go and fight for causes. You must be able to stand up and say, is this going to benefit our race back home? I want to keep up the V sign because we are fighting racism abroad and back home. So are you going to straighten things out for the brothers back home? Or when we get out of this war, will we have to go home and straighten it out? Brothers going to work it out. Brothers going to work it out. Brothers, y'all got to work it out. This is game time. And I'm serious about my game. And as a referee, I've always been serious about the game. You got to get serious too. This ain't no get up. I should be wearing this every day because I'm in the game. And I'm not too proud to say that I won't ever get out of the game until I leave this plane. I'm going to stay in the game and I'm going to know the rules. And you better learn the rules too. Because white male supremacy is a sport. And why do I say that? Because when they go from basketball to the NFL and to football, they're on to soccer. They even over there bothering people in the soccer field. Not to mention tennis, and they already bothering the tennis player to the point where they want her to quit and press her up against a wall. And they over there bothering the golf player. They're in that game, changing the rules on the game. See, our only problem is we don't carry our juju bag with us full of juju dust and preventative maintenance. And we don't carry our rule book with us, so we got the rules of the game. What's the rules of the game? It ain't to succumb to white male supremacists. Now you in the bed with them, and now you rubbing shoulders with them and hugging up on them because you think that they're going to give you favor? Oh no, all you want to know is the rules. What are the rules of the game, buddy? Tell me the rules. Will the referee please recite the rules? And we don't deviate from the rules, we don't recreate rules, and we don't change the rules, we activate the rules. So we're talking about white male supremacists and how it got here. Let's do some defining and definition first of all. What is white male supremacy? It's when the white males are being given priority and being given substantial reparation like they were given. The white males were the first to receive reparation. When they gave up their slaves, they said, if we give up our slaves, y'all gonna have to pay us for that crop that they didn't bring in. You're gonna have to pay us for our cattle being gone, and you have to compensate us with our reparation. And they gave white male supremacists the first reparation. Yes, they did. It is documented. Now, for them to have favor, they have favor in the economic status quo, on the tax rights, because of their large businesses. They're giving great tax reductions, and they're giving favor, okay? And what it also means when they set precedents and they rule the world with only a third of the population. They're given accentual privileges that they can pass down through their lineage, down to the 1,000th generation, so that their lineage will take over their businesses and perpetuate heresy. Now, white male supremacist is a person that's given favor and given privileges that are not available to the average black man or woman. Now, this is a game, right? And they know it's a game. And they don't think you're going to catch on to the rules of the game. And by the time you wake up and catch up to the rules of the game has already started, and they're eons ahead of you. So why do we call this a race? Because we're in a race. And we are fighting to beat the band. But we don't even see that we need to catch up and stay up. You got to stay up. And I mean, you can't go to sleep, so stay woke. It's very vital that you know that white male supremacist is a game, because sometimes you don't know if you playing basketball or if you playing soccer. You got to know how to get in the game, buddy. Okay? And don't ask one of them, because they're not going to tell you the proper way to get in the game. No, but they tell you what will get you a foul and what will get you put out the game. Now, when you're throwing your three-pointers, you got to know, are you in the right zone? Are you in the 3-second zone? Are you throwing that ball before that buzzer go off? You want to know how to pass that ball and set your defense up. And you want to set your picks up so that when you pass the ball, they're going to the right person. And you want to plan your picks before you get on the floor. One of the reasons we are failing as black people, we don't have a strategy. We have no picks when we get on the floor. We just throw the ball over there to anybody. And Bill said, well, what was that all about? Did you tell me you were going to set me up and set up a pick so you could throw that to me? Oh, no, I just thought you saw it. And that's what's wrong with us right now. We have no players in position to throw the ball to. And let's set this baseball game up properly. You over on first, Bill, and you over in the outfield, John. You over in the left field, Sherry, and you over in the outer field, Tom. Get your players in position. Remember I said we are wasting our time going downtown, pulling that lever. I'm pulling for Democrat. I'm pulling for Republican. Where is the neutral at in this? Where is the neutral at? If you know who your players are, you know who you need to get in office, y'all get together and get your money and say, I ain't got the full amount, Bill, but I can put something on it. Then put something on it. So Bill know you behind him, and he's going to have to support your community, and he's going to have to give the people what they want. But you cannot do this thing called voting unless you get in the game. Why are so many of us out of the game? Even Hillary knows the positions of the players. And we looked at how this political party was set up and all the fraudulence in it, and how they brought in outside fraudulence to secure their spots in a political position. If they got money that runs long, they're going to buy their politician and put them in place. Our money don't run that long, but we do know enough to get a man in our community and put him in place and hold him responsible and obligated under the pretense that we put something on it, and we plan to put some more on it when our weekly checks come in. But we've got to stop this foolishness with running downtown to vote, thinking it's going to make a difference. Unless you help to pay for that man's campaign or that woman's campaign, they can't do nothing for you. I can't do nothing for you, man. So it's a farce. And now we're looking at one of the most important cases of all times, with Brett going on trial and not being interviewed and not being investigated, nor his assailant. How do you investigate a department from the feds in 1 week? How do you do that? You and I both know it takes more than 1 week to investigate any case. So we're looking at things that are farces, and they're playing us like we're Ubu the fool. Well, you got to get in the game. Remember I said that white male supremacist is a game. It's a sports. You got to know what sports they're playing and what season they're in. If it's in the NFL and they're playing your sports, then read up on the game and make sure that you know the referee so you know a little bit about my history. I'm going to call interference whenever I see something out of place, and I'm going to stop the players, and the players are going to sit down and take their rest. And if they have to take a knee, then they'll take a knee. But you better follow them and support them. Because remember, they're in the game. They can see what you can't see. Can you see what I see? White male supremacist is a sport. And when they get in the game, they aim to kill. And they're not taking any hostages alive, and they aim to win. And how come they keep winning all the time? Are we just laying on the side and letting them win, not calling any interference? Interference? Hold up. This is an interference. This must be brought to trial. We see all this stuff happening, and we keep saying this can't keep happening. What does that all mean? You have to put some energy behind your words. When you say this can't keep happening, this is a game. Get in the game. Because white male supremacists are going to keep on managing things and calling all the rules. They call the game. If the referee said, you're out, and they said, look here, referee, we got a little game going here. That man wasn't out. Put that man back in. Referee knows that that politician or that government official signs off on his check. He got a situation where he got to make a decision. And we got some decision to make, because this is a game. And just like Francis Wellesley told us, until we understand white male supremacists, everything else is going to only confuse us. We're going to be confused. What is the problem? Why is this going on? Why can't we fix this problem? Why does it keep coming back? Because it's a game. And you're not up on your sports. You have no idea that they have violated all the rules, and the referee is out there sweating, not knowing which way to turn, saying, look at here, get y'all decisions made ahead of time. I'm not throwing any game. Interference, timeout. This is a game, folks, and we're in it. It becomes a sport, and you know how non-Melanin people are about their sports. It's to the finish line. It's a fight to death, and they're carrying it on because they're looking for the entertainment. Why do we keep entertaining them? You made a lot of money, NFL players. You made a lot of money. You got some power and some control. Y'all come together. You act like you are not speaking with one tongue. Y'all speak with one voice. Now, if the non-Melanite boys on your team don't want to go along with you, fine. You got enough black players to create a core, and you can make some decisions. And you can go in there, and when instead of writing the plays out, you write out a plan for how you plan to take over. Because you're running the game today, and you don't even know the power you have. Kaplan had to stand up to all of the world to show you how much power you had. If you only could have stood with Kaplan, you could have brought the house down. But you had the young man to lose his job, and you didn't stand with Kaplan. You didn't stand with him. You did not stand with Kaplan. You allowed Kaplan to fight that war by himself. You didn't stand with him. You talked against him. And then when God blessed him to get a job and advanced him and promoted him, even though he stood on his precepts and his contents and stood on his philosophy, the same way Cassius Clay did. But see, Cassius Clay was a little bit too boisterous, so they had to do something to him so they can bring him in the presence of society and carry him around to humiliate him in his down-going sickness. But nevertheless, Cassius Clay was a great man of all times to stand up for his causes and his beliefs. White male supremacist is a sport, and is running its game on us. But how is it that we allowing something to run game on us when we are the masters of the round ball? They give us only certain games that they'll let us master. They don't want us over in the tennis matches. They don't want us over in the golf match because they figure they want to monopolize those games. But we still got to learn the rules of the game. In order to get in the game, we must know the rules. And here, we need to slow down a little bit about this political party stuff and define what the rules are. They're playing games at the voting booth too. They're bringing in outside support, and they're violating all the rules, and we're letting them get in office, and we're bringing them in, and we're not questioning anything. So what is this game with white male supremacists? What sports are we playing now? Is it seasonal? Is it whatever they want to call a game? How do we know when to get on the defense while they have us on the offense? How do we put them on the defense? And how do we get behind them and lay our rules down? Well, you got control now. That NFL is one of the richest group of people that had ever played in the old times. The power you have and the power that Kaplan leveraged, he showed you the power you have. This is a game, people, and you must realize that. And sometimes the game players get hurt and they have to go over on the sideline and they're taken out of the game. Interference! It's time to take some people out the game now. It's time to take some people out the game now. You must tell them this is an interference, and it's time that we step in and take some people out of the game. No more interference. We will play the game like grown men, equal beside one another, and we will not play favoritism towards anyone else. Game begin. Let the games begin. And then call the referee in and let the referee stand in the middle of the opposition and say, anyone that crosses me, we're going to set the order and we're going to set the chime. Let the games begin. You know, in ancient time, their whole life was games. They predicated their life on games to the finish line and to death. No one walked out of their life that was in competition. We have to look at it the same way. We are getting wounded on the battlefield. We are losing the game. And every time we look up, we are taking a foul. And we are actually fouling out of the game. So we have got to get our priorities right about this game that we're in, about this game, because it's a game. And it's a sports. Get your sports paraphernalias on. Get your sports book and carry your sports and carry your juju. And make sure if you're a referee in the game that you get in the right game. Because some of us are in the wrong game. And let me tell you about it. You're in the game to be on probation to become white. You think you can become jaded and you can be accepted into their game by getting on the list to become jaded into becoming white and trying to change your nationality. But you can't do that. You cannot think that you can marry a white girl and suddenly you get the privileges of that white girl and you become white. It doesn't work like that. And when you get your wealth, don't take your wealth and stockpile it on the other side of the road where you used to couldn't even walk it. Be sensible, NFL players. Come to your senses and say, hey, I got this fortune now. I can't let them keep it. But if they want to take it from me, I double dare them to take it from me. I double dare. I will call an interference. But I'm not going to take all of my stash and give it over to their lineage and to their white girls so that their children are paid down to the 1,000th generation. You got to come to your senses, NFL players. You got to realize that you ain't never had no money and your mother never had that mansion to live in. And now that you got that money, you can buy your mother a mansion. Why not buy a community center that you can go to and be proud of and spend time at? Why keep going over here to this gated community where they hate your guts and they don't love you? Now, if you want to buy some property there, that's fine. Buy some property there, but you don't have to realize you have to get in bed with them. Because it's too many of us seeing these NFL players get in the bed with the Caucasian people trying to say they're keeping the money in the family, keeping the bloodline pure. What bloodline? You of the black race. You're keeping their bloodline together because you're going to dump all your money into their communities once she divorces you. But we got to get this game right. Which game are we playing now? And how does the NFL players get to their teammate and say, look, brother, we in a game. This is a sports. It's nothing but a sports. It's how we make a living. So why not have a little fun while we're in the game? Let's get the rules together and let's make some rules of our own. And let's predicate it that if we're going to entertain the world, then we must have some priorities for our black people because we have to go live with them. We go down in the trenches and we fight with them. We don't go back to your Caucasian neighborhood and you don't uphold us in anything. We don't even have a lifestyle there. So we are going to make sure that our communities are solidified and in place. You have to set the rules. You want to make donations to black organizations, but they say you can't. Don't get involved. Tell them this is your money that you work for. And let them know that you will invest any way you want to and by any means necessary to uplift the black race. That's one of the things that you've got to get out of. Everybody knows that once you start making the big cash, the white girls come out of the closet. They're now ready to be wedded. They're no more ready for a wedding and a man in the moon. They are ready to pick your pockets and to get all your ducats in place so that their children will be taken care of. You have to understand this interracial marriage has to stop because it is hurting black women and is destroying black families because you soon end up in a divorce. So why can't you find love in a woolly-haired girl like myself? How come you can't find love with a dark-skinned brown girl like myself? How come you can't look at your own reflection in the mirror and love what you see? Because you've been taught to hate what you see. Touchdown! I made a point. And I think right about now, some of you NFL players should be down on one knee proposing to a black girl, opening up her world, giving her the desires of her heart, because it was her slave masters that stayed together, even in the thick of things, when brothers and sisters were beaten. They stayed together. You have a cause and you have a purpose, NFL players, football players, tennis players, and you're learning right now that you are a spokesman for the community and for the race. And you must have to determine which side you're on. Because when they paid you your money, you don't owe them anything. You don't owe them the rights to take your money back to a white community to invest it. You don't owe them that. That's why segregation wasn't the answer. You should have stayed over there on the other side of the track playing ball for your black people, by your black people. Then you wouldn't be in somebody's pocket right now, having to allow them to maneuver you all over the place and to make you become jaded and lose a sense of who you are. Now, we got to get this white supremacist thing right because it is a sports and we got to go out and buy our paraphernalias. We got to find out what season the sport is in. We got to find out what are the regulations and what's going on in our community and how we can fight this thing by getting in the game. But you sure can't fight it standing on the sideline, watching, not saying anything. You got to get in the game to win. And you got to know the rules of the game. White male supremacists will only confuse you until you understand white male supremacists. All else, Francis Scott Wells, and I'm quoting her, said, will only confuse you. I'm telling you that white male supremacist is a sport. So let's get in the game. Now that we know it's a sport, we are ready for a game. We are ready for a game. Time out. Sherelle Garth said the women have to get in the game too. I'm not so sure if you have had an opportunity like I've had to be a referee and to coach young boys and young girls on the basketball court, or if you had a chance to get on the 50-yard dash and run that 50-yard dash and jump those hurdles. I don't know if you had that chance, but I am a competitive sportsman, and I've always believed in getting in the game. Even when my brother was in the game, I got in the game to support him in the cheer squad when he was only a mere freshman, playing on varsity leagues, going down state, making history. That's what we do as black people. We make history when we get in the game. We're just not mediocre, just playing around with the ball. No, we are dribbling, and we are getting in the game. And we're going to make a difference like Kaplan did. And now you look at Kaplan as a hero when you first wanted to bring him out as a conscientious objector because he refused to stand up to the flag. We're finding out a lot of things now that ain't so and they ain't right and it ain't a part of the game. Now, if you want games, white male supremacists, if you want games, then the brother's going to work it out and the brother's going to give you the game. You're playing ball with the big boys now, okay? And they're not just playing with little brown balls. They're going to be playing with mini balls, tennis balls, soccer balls. They're going to be playing with them. And you're playing ball with the big boys. And you were always playing ball with the big boys. But they thought you was playing with them. So they didn't put their full armor on. But they're going to put on the full armor now because they know you're taking too many of our brothers out on a daily basis. And we got to put a stop to it. Until the murders stop on the street, the NFL game will cease. And you got to tell them that we're not playing no more game until the murders stop on the street. You can shut them down. Shut them down, down, down. Because we're in a sports, and sports is of the season. Now the captain has kicked the door open. You can knock the door open and come in with all of your demands. Captain, I thank God for you, that you stood strong and you knew the game of basketball. You knew the game of football and you knew what season we was in and you took a knee. And other brothers who followed you, praise God for you, praise God for you, praise God for you, because you got to get your wings too. And what Kaplan did is something that all of you players should have did a long time ago. Stood for something. All of our great sportsmen and songsters and artists always took a stand on something. Nina did it. Nina took a stand on something. And she talked about how she wished she could be free. And she also talked to the young people about how they can change the world. But we have to know what time we're in. We're in a time of sports being played as a game, using white male supremacists as a sports, not looking at lives, but interfering with lives and cutting them short, taking men off this planet as if they never existed, using the all expression, I thought he had a gun. Well, if you would lay your guns down and stop walking around with loaded pistols, you wouldn't have to believe that a man is going to bear arms against an unarmed man. If you were unarmed and had no gun, then there'd be no reason to believe that a man was armed with a gun. Meet him for his match. And if you train like you say you are, you don't need a pistol. You can stand up to a man and reason with him and then have him go on his merry way because you've changed his attitude and his decision. But you cannot always think you have the upper hand because you're carrying the pistol and you want to make the world think that our people are armed. They're not armed and they're lying and the truth is not in them. Now, you brothers and sisters that say you're going to work it out, and that are on the basketball field, on the football field, on the tennis field, on the soccer field, on the golf field, brothers got to work it out. Because we have to let them know that they're playing with the big boys now. You cannot appear to be a pushover. The round ball is your game. You master games. So why are we not mastering the keys of life? Why are we losing on every account? Because we don't know it's a sport. We don't know that white male supremacist is a game. We haven't a clue. We think they're playing with us. They're not playing with us. They're serious than a heart attack. They want to be the last man or woman standing. This is white male supremacist, and it's a sport. It's a game. And we've got to let them know we're in the game now. And we're in the know. We're in the game because you created interference. Halt. This is interference. We must talk here. We must talk here and let you know that all of the top-notch basketball players are going to get in the huddle, and before they touch and agree and go out on the court, they're going to get a sanction that the murders will stop on the streets of all of the black men. And if they don't cease, there won't be any game playing. The game is over, hands down. But we must get the game in order, and we must let those who are making the rules know. We must serve you notice that we are the big boys, and you're playing with the big boys now. And this is just an indication to let you know we are aware of the fact that white male supremacy is a sport, and we're on to it now, and it will cease. Game over. Thank you very much.